So John's adding in what we call a neckline or a jackline. So this gives a place where you can break that connection really specifically, so it's ready to go for later. It's something that's really important to remember early on in the process. If you put it in early, it'll be there for you later. If you forget, when the glass starts to stiffen up, it's a lot harder to add it in after the fact. So Henrik's got another nice cherry wood item there, the block. Also used wet, so you can see the steam coming off of it. So when it's used nicely, that bed of steam gives you almost like riding on a cloud. So you can shape the glass with a nice smooth surface. So it's both lightly cooling it and helping to shape it. Who in here would consider themselves a beginner level glass artist in the audience? Wise. Humble. Who would consider themselves an intermediate glass artist? Who would consider themselves advanced to expert? We got one. Who's never seen a glass demo before? All right, we have a room full of appreciators. That's wonderful. We're in good company. And so Mikey's keeping this happy, making sure it's warm but not too hot to lose shape. Just preparing to park it in our little garage. So the furnace is a little thirsty. Mikey's just giving it a little sip of water there. Are you clearing the bubbles, Mikey? Yeah. Just kidding though. The bubbles that are in the furnace aren't always ideal, especially for things that are going to be high polished. So when you squirt water in there, it's one method to clear the bubbles from the top. It does look a little bit like when you see like a boxing match though and the coach squirts the water in the mouth. But no joke, stay hydrated, everybody. Does everyone know where the water fountain is? It's just down the gray hallway where the bathrooms are. John, you got any jokes? So in the garage, we got quite a lot going on. Let's check in with the garage. So we have a pre-made collar. In the middle there, we have an encalmo piece. I believe that's going to be the clear halo that John mentioned earlier. And then we also have a nice chunk of color that's pre-shaped for doing an overlay for further additions. And then just on the side, we also have the fork, which can be used to handle little pieces of glass. Or you just move things around that aren't attached to a pipe. All right, so I've got a color report from John. We've got a really beautiful golden yellow for part of this. Gold ruby, I think, is one of the best all-time glass colors. And when they overlay each other, you get this beautiful in-between orange. I think that's a really smart way to achieve something similar to the glow that you get from a hot glass. Does anyone in the audience have a different favorite glass color? Should we do a bracket? That's because Lagoon? Lagoon is really friendly. It's nice and soft. I still think Gold Ruby is the best, though. I think most of you folks agree, right? Narcissus? Yellow? I like the CMY in general. I think we got a good top three. Cyan, magenta, yellow. RGB. Apologies if anyone that's your favorite. Everyone's got different taste. Which one? Old gold, yeah. That's a lovely golden color. We got Erin stepping in. Shouts out to Erin. When she does her job well, it seems like nothing happened. So heat protection is always nice. John's got a nice little sleeve on to help protect the heat. Even when you've toughened yourself up, it's still nice to have a little bit longer working time that you can get away with. The radiant heat off of the glass when it gets big and thick like that can be pretty brutal. There's talk of a blow punty. We're in for a treat. So John's got another steam tool here. Nice wet carbon pad. This is the closest you can get to touching the glass and manipulating it by hand at its hottest points. So we got a little puff from Mikey. Another convenient use for the compressed air, just scooting the water away from where it doesn't need to be. You think it's just bleeding out? So you see the angle Tony's turning at. It really helps to use gravity to advantage. It's always best to work with the glass rather than against it. And the less you can tool it, the better. You get a much smoother surface if you are using air and gravity more than anything else. Aaron, what's the alcohol for? It's water. So Aaron's just filled up. We're recycling here. Aaron's filled up a nice old reused alcohol bottle to squeeze water, so we have a more convenient way to spill the water onto the carbon pad and other tools. We try our best to reuse before we recycle. Some other fun bottles you can use as a water squeeze are honey bears and sriracha bottles. A lot of the funnest glass tools are appropriated from the kitchen. You can even use a little panini press sometimes. So Jonathan Yao is pulling out the color for the next overlay. Here comes a critical move. So John's blasting a little bonus heat using the fluffy propane torch. One of the noisiest torches, but even though it's so noisy, it's actually a really soft, all-encompassing heat. So getting that little bit of extra heat there gives you a little more suppleness for getting the neckline into this bigger form. Yeah, so John's comment, stiff yellow. Even though yellow is a really gorgeous color, you'll find as you get to know your colors, they're just as much of a teammate as your human assistants. So giving a little extra heat with the fluffy propane torch will help it along. James' favorite color, Lagoon, is a little bit easier to heat. Aaron's helping out with a little double paddle shield here. This is an advanced assisting move. As much as you can protect yourself from the heat, the better. You give a lot more time to tool the glass without having to recoil away. A lot of experience can start to reduce the perception in your nerves, but there's a threshold to that even. Now that we've got the neckline, using that compressed air again. Aaron, do you want the one from the other bench? So we got another overlay happening here. That nice big chunk of color. So we go starting in beret mode. You guys remember what's next? So the question is, how do you get that nice definition between the color zone and the separation, the next color or the transparent? So what we're going to experience here, I believe, will be what we call an encalmo technique, where they're actually going to make sure they're the perfect same size and smush them together. So you're predicting ahead what you'll see. All right, so updates. We've got the clear halo hanging out, just waiting. So this will get puntied next. And then once that's puntied, they'll be able to encalmo the clear halo, so that technique where you get those really crisp separations of color is coming up. So Mikey's got a nice two-part punty here. Right now it looks like a mushroom. He's just mushing that nice hot layer over the solid clear core, crisping up the back end to keep it nice and compact and happy. And Mikey's just going to cool that off so it's easier to handle. So yet again, coming up on another really fun key moment, the transfer. So Mikey's got it nice and level. He's pulling back to just give a little bit of distance, stretch out that clear connection a little bit. And then he's using the jacks here to create a nice separation point. So it'll be strong, but easy to remove later. And it's not that heavy. You see Mikey's got his arms nice and wide apart, so it's nice and balanced proportion of weight. Even though it's not that heavy, it just makes it a little bit more stable to hold it wide apart. You get the nice overhead view here. So we got drop 1, drop 2. Enjoy your ride. Nice. How about a little bit more? That was pretty good. It's good to be humble, but we love it. And so Mikey's doing his best to just heat the front here. So when the punty's on there, it's good to let it stabilize a little bit. John did a really nice job getting it on center. And so now the next part of the game is getting the front half ready to work. That back end he was just working is going to be the hottest part for a little bit longer. But by heating just the front selectively, just flashing it a little bit to have an even heat, he's able to start changing what part of the glass he's working on. So John's just discussing his really intense sense of timing on these. He predicts we'll be done by 9. I believe him. Aaron's skeptical. Time's not real anyway, so. 8:58. Okay, we have it. 8:58. So now the name of the game is just getting this to the right size and shape to take the clear halo next. Is anybody in here a glass collector? That's it? I'm one. One more time. Who's a glass collector in here? I know Sarah is. Don't be shy. We love glass. So, 2 shouts out. Number 1, if you haven't been yet, we have Danny in the house from Montague Galleries. It's a fantastic gallery. They feature John Kiley's work amongst other greats. I saw a really sweet Lino show there a few years back. Got some wonderful artists there. So if you want a nice fun field trip to San Francisco, I highly recommend going to Montague Gallery. And then if you want something fun to do later, who knew about the silent auction? if you didn't know, you guys, guess what? There's a silent auction we'll be having in the back to celebrate BAGI and to help raise some funds. So in addition to any donations, thank you in advance if you do donate. Thank you if you have in the past. But we have a fun way to build or start your art collection in the back. I got to preview some of the pieces. Even Sarah, our ED, has a piece. Aaron, our manager, amongst other wonderful, beautiful artists and their works of art. So get some refreshments throughout the evening so you can keep your energy levels up. The silent auction's gonna be hot. Technically room temperature, but it could get pretty hot. Hotbeds. John, are you measuring with your heart for this in Calmo? You have calipers built into your eyes, don't you? So you may see some artists using a caliper. John has a pretty keen eye. There's a caliper. For those of you who love doing the same thing over and over again, I think that's probably why you enjoy glass. You do the same thing over and over again, you start to notice little things, little details. So Tony's got the halo prepared. Here comes another critical move. Here it comes. So here comes Tony. He's got the lip of that nice and juicy hot. And so this is how you get that nice, clean connection between the colors. So James jumps in with a blow. And then that neckline from earlier is just going to come off nice and clean. Just a little tap is all it takes. Yeah, give it up, you guys. Nice. So now that that clear halo's on, the next phase will be to add the other chunk of color, the other bubble of color. Yeah, exactly. It's color, clear color, beautiful parfait. It's really nice utilizing the clear in addition to the colors. You notice these really cool reflective qualities that the clear has, so it's almost like it's catching color from both sides and mixing it together. So now that the clear and Calmo is attached, John's able to start shaping it and preparing to open it up to receive the next in Calmo. Yeah, go team. So Henrik's jumping in for one more gather just to make sure it's going to be big enough. John was able to look at it and say, if we get one more gather, that'll probably be a better fit. Henrik's got it. minus a tiny bit. So Henrik's just stripping off a little bit using gravity and the liquidity of the glass. Nice. You see how it winds up when the glass is really hot? You can give it a little shake and that little tail will come right off, wind up back on itself. And so Tony's got the loose block handle. So some blocks we use it on a handle. Sometimes you can use just the bowl part of the block separately on the bench. Or you can cup it from below. It's pretty versatile. So the one that Henrik's working on, I believe, is the gold ruby, my personal favorite color. And then the one we have on here already, it's hard to tell, but it's going to be that beautiful golden yellow. So everyone, I have a quick interlude for us. Sarah, our ED, is got a little thing to show off here. So last night we did double events. This is the goblet from last night with the Medusa stem. Sarah's just gonna take it for a little walk here to show it off, so you can admire it. This is made by Jason McDonald. He was our guest artist last night and just wrapped up a workshop with our resident BAGI students, our local students. It was a very spectacular demo last night too. So just a shout out to James here, where did you get to? James, our communications manager. If you're not already, I definitely recommend being on the BAGI newsletter. I imagine most of you are already subscribed, but you can find out when we have multiple events in a row and make sure that you can make them. But he keeps us up to date on all the fun happenings. And don't worry, if you ever miss an event, he'll always give a little peek at what happened and highlight things from the future view as well. So we're just switching benches here. Mikey and Henrik are going to help keep this happy. So Henrik's just helping keep the colder end happy using the propane torch there. It's the noisiest but still gentlest torch. Don't let its bark fool you. It's a sweetie. So Henrik and Mikey are working together over here to just make sure that the foundation stays nice and comfortable and stable. Not too hot, not too cold. So when you have multiple pieces happening like this, it's always good to be comfortable handing something off to the other part of the team so that the lead glassblower, our gaffer, can stay focused on making sure each piece is the right size, right shape, and temperature. So we're just getting the next level of jack lines in. So preheating with the propane torch, get it nice and supple. So does anyone know what John's wiping on the jacks here? It's wax. Does anyone know, bonus points, what kind of wax? Beeswax. So this is really special beeswax. So BAGI, we're really grateful to be part of History Park here. And so one of the cool features in History Park is there is a little garden with an apiary. So these are actually made by History Park bees. And Aaron does a really cute job of helping melt the donated wax into a flower-shaped puck. So right now it's pretty destroyed, but Aaron makes us cute little flowers of beeswax from our neighbor bees. Who remembers the old BAGI in between Bobby Bo's house and where we are now? That old BAGI used to smell like hops. We're right next to Gordon Biersch Brewery, so some of the beers are actually, we're still friends with the Gordon Biersch. So some of those pilsners you'll see in there from our friends over there, they used to be our next door neighbors. You would never know we were there. It's now an apartment building. No trace of old BAGI. But we've been really happy here since 2016. So John's just working that neckline in nice and tight. And it's still got some good heat in it. So he's taking a blow. And if you haven't yet, it's a little hard to see from the bleachers, so if you need to stretch your legs, I definitely recommend enjoying a little bit of a backbench view. Seeing the way that very experienced glass blowers move their hand, it's almost like watching an octopus crawl. Oh yeah, just PSA, don't go past the yellow line, but if you can get an angle of view from the back bench. Although if you're taking these seats, that's okay. So we're just doing a little prep for a price check here. So just taking a little journey to check on the other size. So when they're putting that propane torch on the glass and moving it around, they're basically giving it a little bonus heat. So a little bonus heat. So when the glass goes into the reheating chamber, the glory hole, it's a really encompassing heat. But the propane, it's a little bit more of a specific heat. And so when you're applying that, it gives it a little extra heat boost for when you go to take a heat in the reheating chamber. So a lot of times you'll see it in times like this where they call it babysitting the piece, just making sure that the temperature is nice and even. And so you don't want to go too hot in the glory hole, but if you have like a place on the glass that you can visualize that it's getting colder, they'll give a little extra love, usually to the back end, to help even out the heat. It's just another additional heating tool. No, they're absolutely, this part they're not really changing the shape, but they're doing what we call heat management, just making sure that everything is a nice, even, and comfortable temperature. Glass, especially this type of soda lime soft glass, is really sensitive to thermal shock. So a lot of experienced glass blowers will use the propane torch a lot to help manage the heat as well as the reheating chambers. Yeah, great question. And so John's marked a little circle of chalk, and that's a nice little target. Because now he's going to use a tungsten rod on a drill. And the cool thing about tungsten is you can heat the tungsten on one end, but it actually superheats the whole rod all the way through, and you can puncture a hole right through the glass. So by doing this, he's creating a really small opening for the blow puntee we mentioned earlier, a really fun technical puntee. And so having that hole in the bottom, you get a little bit different thickness effect from that, and also you're able to puntee it on the thinner side, and then when he opens it up, he'll be able to apply the next encalmo. So rather than open that all the way, he's already got that nice shape. So putting the little hole preserves the bottom shape of the form, and then he's able to continue working it and transfer it with the ability to blow through from the other side. So just going back to heat management, a lot of times what you'll see them doing is going between the puntee and the body of the piece. The puntee is usually the most sensitive part to thermal shock at this point, because the steel wants to suck all that heat out of the glass. So by giving it that little bonus heat boost with the propane torch, they're able to keep it from wanting to shock apart. And so John's blowing a little bubble here to make a collar. And by popping the bubble all the way through, he's able to have a hollow puntee. This is a pretty big blow puntee, so by having that nice big shape, it's going to be a little bit more stable and easier to keep on center. And also support the weight of the piece, because once we start adding this much glass, it gets pretty heavy too. Even if each piece is relatively light. And so he's using the jacks here. Just make sure that opening is nice and receptive to the piece. He's giving little crimpies around it, and that'll help it release a little bit better later. You guys, you want to give it up one more time for that really amazing transfer? That's pretty advanced. So one of the questions was about how long does it take to be able to work together on a team at this level. I would say somewhere around like 5 or so years of regular practice to be on a team like this. But if you are in the earlier phases of your glass experience, one of the best things I could recommend is assist people that you're a little bit intimidated to assist. If they're willing to take you on as help, do it. And by helping people that are scary to assist, you'll get a lot less scared pretty quickly and you'll learn a ton. But I think everybody on this team, I don't think anyone on this team has been working for any less than like 15 to 20 years experience. If they look really young to you, a lot of them started when they were like 17 to 18. And also glassblowing keeps you young, so they all look maybe like 10 to 20 years younger than they actually are. I won't name ages or anything. Who knew something really, really hot would be the fountain of youth? It forces you to stay hydrated, I guess. And so now that we have the blow punty on, next order of business is just getting ready for this next encalmo. And so we're just putting a little Band-Aid on. John noticed there was a little air coming through, and so John Yao brought a little blob of glass to patch up any potential air leak in the blow punty. So the key to having a blow punty work is for it to be a solid connection, a tube of glass rather than a tube with a hole. We're not trying to play music here. We've got the sound system for that. So John's just getting a nice crisp opening there for the next encalmo to tack onto. So John's just working that shape. And we are getting pretty close. Convergence, yeah. Convergence and Como. I like convergence better. Has some celestial implications. The convergence of the glass bodies. Did you guys like dinner tonight? Yeah? Has anyone been to the restaurant Dar, where it came from? It's really good, isn't it? Dar Mediterranean. It's in Los Gatos. Very cute. So if you want more where that came from, check out Dar, D-A-R. If anyone likes moussaka, excellent moussaka. Just two more, 1 to 2 more heats, I suppose. It's almost time, you guys. So when it's time, just like they put the little clear halo bit on, it's the same thing but giant. So this will be basically squishing both forms together. And so here it comes. Just mash them right on. Yee! And so because we have the blow punty, he's able to inflate it. So from the top view here, you can see it expanding. that's an incalmo. Yee! Awesome. Nice job, team. And so now John's just given a little propane love to the back end there. And so now the final order of business is just to get that a little more spherical. So you guys, Cupertino time is 8:57. I don't know. Do you think they can finish in 1 minute? So just getting those final touches on there, perfecting the form. So just giving it another flash, an assessment. So the colors, reminder, gold ruby. We have clear and a nice yellow color, a golden yellow. Did you guys just get a preview of the future? I had a feeling he was a time traveler. All right, you guys. And Henrik's got the suit on. A task of honor. Last flash. So when Henrik catches that, we'll put it into our annealing ovens, cool it down very slow and gentle so that it goes past and into the future. Little bit of water, little love tap. There we go. Thanks so much, everybody. Thank you, John Kiley. Thank you, team. That was wonderful. Thank you so much. Thank you, audience. Thank you, patrons. So, more. You guys, there's more where this came from. So this is just a big crescendo to the evening, but there's more. So we have our silent auction coming, and on your way in there, Sarah has our lovely donation flyers, a little preview of what different amounts of funds can provide BAGI patrons and students with. If you haven't taken a class here yet, definitely encourage you to. It's really fun. I teach some of them in the fusing lab, and the hot shop is a big playground for us all. And if you donate any amount, it is tax write-off, so you don't have to give the U.S. government quite so much of your taxes. And we appreciate it so much. So thank you for any donations of any amount. It really means the world to us that you're here and want to support glass art and people continuing to share their love of glass with each other.